English Class 2010 group project that consists of
Trenton,
Easton,
Match,
and yours truly, Angel.
and our subject is
Our subject is the ongoing controversy of airport security.
okay, and I'll be playing the businessman, the frequent flyer who is against the added security.
I'll be playing the TSA officer that's in charge of all the pat-downs.
I'll be playing the mediator. We for or against added airport security, or we for it or against?
Well, I fly a lot, and as you know, businessmen are always on the go. Time is money. I gotta get in, get out.
On average, how much would you say time is spent in waiting
Oh,
to go through security?
I would say, well, before security, it was maybe a half hour, but now it's like an hour 20 minutes, and it was a blow to my business after that added security.
So, Mr. Security, what do we gain from this?
What we gain is security. I mean, that's what's important. He talks about how time is money. What's the point of having that time if you're going to end up dead on a flight because someone bombed it? It's all about being safe and getting where you're going, because the longer you live, the more time you have, and that's what we do. We make sure everyone's going to be safe on their flights, and in the process of which we give other people jobs. I mean, we need people that run the security, we need the people that produce the gloves and the machines that we use. All these things need to be taken into consideration, and all of it ties into keeping him safe.
You bring up gloves. How often do you switch gloves on a daily basis?
Switch them a few times, 2 or 3 times, you know, just like on breaks and all. Whenever we come in, we're changing our
Two or three times a day. How many people do you pat down on a daily basis, would you say?
Assume it's about 40, 50-ish.
People, and only 3 times a day you're switching? Mr. Traveler, how do you feel about that if you get a pat down?
I'm personally disgusted. I think that is just bad. If you're any other job, you're supposed to just switch your gloves after every little activity you're supposed to do. I don't usually do that. I deal in higher dealings. I kind of run those companies, but with my companies, you're supposed to change every day. It's very sanitary, and I go through the airport all the time, and I see they say they change their gloves every 30 or to 40 people, but I see maybe once after, just from my viewings, maybe once after their lunch, and that's when I try to catch my screening, my pat down. But
So you literally time yourself where you keep an eye on when it switches?
Oh yeah, I fly. I'm always on the go, and I kind of got this down to a science now.
Do you feel more safe?
That's the question here. With all his debate about security and safety, I think it's just redundant and just very ineffective. I don't think the security that they're providing is not the security we need. I mean, I think it's really just like overkill with their security.
So are you suggesting then that if a terrorist wanted to get through with a bomb or just create harm, it would happen regardless whether we have the security or not?
I think we're making it look like the terrorists are idiots, and if they really wanted to get their job done, they would do it. And this pat down and all these scanners that are abusing it's abusing the Fourth Amendment of our rights, and it's really they're kind of getting their rights thrown out the window with this added security.
So using the theory that we're doing this because of terrorism, protecting against terrorism, some people say that, critics say that the terrorists have already won because of all of the process that we're forcing upon our citizens to go through to get through the airport. How do you feel about that?
Well, I would say that the terrorists have kind of, in a sense, won a small battle. They've made it so we have had to up our security, and we have had to take people's time, and we have had to just like make sure people are being safe. I mean, we've got to put on these extra restrictions and all. We can't get rid of the idea of terrorism as a whole. So I mean, if we could, we would, but that's not up to us. So all we're doing was we're just protecting our people and the people of America, while the idea of terrorism is still out there and still being used.
Israel has a very safe travel record. What would you say to profiling in the United States?
Well, I think we do have some profiling going on anyway, because there are just like, you can be randomly selected to go through a pat down or go through the scanners, and you kind of have the choice there of which you want. And so when you're going through that, I mean, I don't speak for myself personally here, but there may be people out there that are profiling when we do this, and profiling isn't always the best way. Because if we're looking for a certain type of person every time they go through, then the terrorists or whoever's trying to sneak things onto the plane, they're just going to move to the next type of person where it's not the person we're looking for. I mean, if we're looking for all the people wearing turbans that get on the plane, and we just start forgetting about all the, let's say, 18-year-old white girls, that's going to be the next place they're going to have people start sneaking it on, because just because you wear a turban doesn't mean you're a terrorist, and just because you're white doesn't mean you're not.
Mr. Traveler,
Yes.
what do you feel about the radiation levels within the new scanners?
That's a good question, because I have a buddy who's actually a radiologist scientist.
And let's say you do have HIV or something, or you've been through the scanner like 3 times that week or something, you have the choice. You can request a pat down. There's no radiation involved in that. You don't always have to go through the scanner, so you always have a choice.
Some say that the pat downs, the enhanced pat downs, are increasingly a little too much. What do you say to those accusations that
Well,
it's a little too invasive?
I say it's working. Just in the week from March 28th to, let's see, what was it, April 3rd, we were able to get 11 firearms that were confiscated trying to go through, and pat-downs were able to get those.
Would you say that you guys should be considered heroes then? You guys basically stopped 11 different terrorist acts from happening with these. Would you go as far as characterizing what you did and your department did?
Well, I would characterize what we're doing as a heroic effort.
Do you think that if this was up for vote, that it would pass with flying colors? The American people would vote for continual growth and or more involvement and security?
I think if it were up to a vote right now, it probably wouldn't.
With regard to your business bottom line, is it affecting your bottom line enough that you've been moved to actually buy an aircraft yourself?
Well, I've considered buying my own jet with all this trouble. With going along with what he said, I totally agree about terrorism. You can't take it away, but there's a great man that said, "There's nothing to fear but fear itself." You can fear things. It's always going to be there, but that's how you deal with it. And as America, I think we're dealing with this terrorism thing in the wrong way.
Okay, well, just in closing, if you can give me a 30-second message that you want to get to the population out there that's pro-security, airport security.
Okay. Well, I think the main thing I've heard from my opposition here is that it takes away civil rights. It takes away, like, the Fourth Amendment for unreasonable searches and seizures. I think all I can say to that, and my message overall, is that we're defending the greatest right that we have as humans as a whole, and that's our right to live. We're trying to maintain that. We're trying to keep it. We're trying to protect it for everyone and make sure everyone has that. And I think once we stop trying to protect that, then we have to start living in fear, because then we never know what's going to happen. Whereas now there is some fear, but we're doing our best to get rid of all that fear as a whole. So.
Okay. Same to you. 30 seconds to address the nation.
I am happy that America responded to reduce terrorism. The way they're doing it, I don't think people are agreeing it. I think we're in the stages of trying to handling it, but the first attempt really isn't getting what we need. So I think the future of airport security will be altered, and I don't think TSA will last as long as much longer. So.
Well, there you go. You've heard it. We have a frequent professional travel traveler, you could say, and a.
Yeah, I have somewhere to go. I have a business meeting to get to.
Okay, well, thank you for your time, sir, and thank you, Mr. Security.
Got some
We'll let him get back to his pat downs.